Hello and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today we're going to talk about the dangers of over-fertilizing your houseplants. This is a peace lily here, and it's doing great because one of the reasons why it's not over-fertilized. The over-fertilizing often starts with good intentions. You think, oh, if the more I feed the plant, the faster it'll grow, the healthier it'll grow. But actually what can happen with over-fertilizing is the plant can have a lot of problems and will definitely slow down in growth. One really important thing to keep in mind is that plants don't grow because of fertilizing. They grow because of light. Light is what makes plants grow, not fertilizer. Fertilizer is necessary, however, because it gives plants necessary nutrients that will facilitate healthy growth. So keep that in mind, however. So if you feel like, oh no, I need to fertilize more so my plant grows better, that's not your first step, especially if you have a plant that is ailing. Plants that are ailing should not be fertilized because fertilizing stresses them more. What you want to do if you have an ailing plant is make sure that all other cultural growing conditions are correct, including lighting, as well as the correct size pot and that sort of thing. Okay, so why do you need to be careful not to over-fertilize? One thing that will happen when you over-fertilize is you can kill plant roots off, because fertilizers, even organic fertilizers, and they are better than non-organic fertilizers, but even organic fertilizers, and I do have an organic fertilizer available, which I'll put the link below. Okay, thank you. So here is my organic fertilizer. And organic fertilizers are preferential over chemical fertilizers for many reasons. I do have a video that explains that as well, so I'm going to go into great detail, but I would urge you to use organics whenever possible on your plants. However, as mentioned, you can still overdo fertilizing even with organic fertilizers. All fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, have this problem much more in much greater amount, but even organic fertilizers do have salts in them, and salinity in the soil will lead to root dieback if there's a lot of salinity in the soil. You're always going to have some, but a lot will lead to root dieback. It will kill the roots back, and that can then lead to root rot because less roots on the plant, too much moist soil in the pot will cause even the healthy roots to start to die back even further. So they've already been, the process already got started with the chemical fertilizer or too much organic fertilizer, and then it continues. So that's why you want to be really careful not to over-fertilize. If you feel like you've over-fertilized, you can leach the plant soil. That means to rinse a bunch of water through the soil to basically rinse the soil out. I have a video on how to do that as well. So if you have done that recently, you can go ahead and rectify that problem fairly quickly and hopefully won't have a lot of problems with that. I have a video on the signs of too much salinity in the soil as well, and one of those is leaf tip, brown leaf tips. So that's something to keep in mind if you are thinking that you have been over-fertilizing. If you're seeing that, that is definitely a sign of over-fertilizing. So it can affect the roots and it can affect the foliage itself. There are soil bacteria in your soil, which you want in your soil. It keeps your soil healthy, and this is the case if you're organically gardening. If you're not organically gardening, you don't have that soil bacteria, and actually that's not a good thing because plants require good soil bacteria to grow really healthy. So that soil bacteria is also at risk if you over-fertilize, because once again, because of the salt buildup primarily, and just oversaturation of nutrients in the soil itself. So the bacteria will eat some of those nutrients, but it needs to be a good balance of nutrients, not a big, a constant addition of those nutrients will cause an imbalance. The other thing to keep in mind too is if you are chemically using chemical fertilizers on your houseplants, they will become dependent on those fertilizers because you will be killing off the soil bacteria. So then you do need to fertilize on a constant basis, but you will find after a while what will start happening is a lot of leaf tip burn, and then you're going to need to change the potting soil frequently because the salt buildup is going to be so high, and you may very well end up with root rot as well. That is very common. So that is, those are the main reasons why you don't want to over-fertilize. If you do like to fertilize, if you do like to tend your plants and you like to make sure they're being well fed, I would suggest using worm compost for your fertilizer. Here's some worm compost here. I have videos on the wonders of worm compost. It is a very low source of micronutrients, so it really is hard to over fertilize with worm compost. Of course, anything can be done, but that is a nice nutrient addition that you could do on a more regular basis, even monthly, and that would be okay for the plants. Making a tea with it is a really good idea too, and I have a video on that as well. So that is something you can do if you really want to feed your plants in between feeding them with regular macronutrient fertilizers. I do have in my book, which I do have available here, Indoor Gardening the Organic Way, more information on that, on the importance of not over-fertilizing and fertilizing organically as well. And I have autographed copies available in my store. So that is it for why you don't want to over-fertilize. Causes you a lot more problems later on. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.